Eloria was at peace once more. But the air was thick with anticipation. The darkness had been repelled, but the guardians knew that the battle was not over. The Shadow Sovereign was patient and cunning, and its influence could still be felt in the far reaches of the forest. Lyra and Neve had barely rested since their last confrontation with the corruption of the ley lines. Their bond with the forest had deepened, but so had their responsibilities. As the new guardians of Eloria, they knew that they had to stay vigilant. One evening, while patrolling the outskirts of the forest, Lyra felt a strange sensation. It was as if time itself had shifted. The trees seemed older, and the air was thick with ancient magic. "Neve, do you feel that?" Lyra asked, her voice hushed. Neve nodded, her eyes scanning their surroundings. "Something's different. It's like the forest is remembering something." Following the feeling, they made their way to an ancient grove they had never seen before. In the center stood a circle of standing stones, each one covered in intricate runes and glowing faintly in the moonlight. "This place, it's filled with old magic," Lyra whispered, her eyes wide with wonder. Neve stepped closer to one of the stones, tracing the runes with her fingers. "These are symbols of time and memory. The forest must be trying to show us something." As they stood within the circle, the air shimmered, and a portal of swirling light appeared before them. Without hesitation, they stepped through, finding themselves in a place that felt both familiar and foreign. They were still in Eloria, but it was a different Eloria, an Eloria from the past. The trees were younger, and the air was filled with the vibrant energy of a forest in its prime. In the distance, they could see a grand city, its towers reaching toward the sky. "This must be Eloria, as it was long ago," Lyra said, marveling at the sight. "But why have we been brought here?" As they made their way toward the city, they noticed that the people of Eloria seemed troubled. There was a palpable tension in the air, and whispers of an impending threat echoed through the streets. Approaching the grand hall at the center of the city, they were greeted by a council of elders, their faces lined with worry. One of the elders, a woman with silver hair and piercing blue eyes, stepped forward. "Welcome, travelers. I am Arya, the High Guardian of Eloria. You have been brought here by the forest's will. It has shown you our time, so that you may learn from our past." Lyra and Neve explained their journey and the battles they had faced against the darkness. Arya listened intently, her eyes growing wider with each word. "The Shadow Sovereign," she murmured. "It is a foe we too have fought. In our time, we created the celestial crystal to seal its power, but the cost was great. Many of our bravest guardians were lost in the battle." Arya led them to a hidden chamber beneath the hall, where the celestial crystal lay, glowing with an ethereal light. "This crystal holds the key to defeating the Shadow Sovereign. You must take it back to your time and use its power to protect Eloria." Lyra reached out to touch the crystal, feeling its immense power thrumming beneath her fingers. "We will do whatever it takes to save our home." Arya nodded, her expression solemn. "Remember, the crystal's power is not limitless. Use it wisely, and trust in the bond you share with the forest and each other." With the celestial crystal in their possession, Lyra and Neve stepped back through the portal, returning to their time. The forest welcomed them back with a gentle rustling of leaves, as if acknowledging their return. As they stood once more in the ancient grove, Lyra held the crystal aloft, feeling its power resonating with the ley lines beneath the earth. "We have the means to protect Eloria now, but we must be prepared for the challenges ahead." Niamh nodded, her eyes filled with determination. "We will stand together, Lyra. The forest chose us for a reason. We will not let it down." The days that followed were filled with preparations. Lyra and Niamh worked tirelessly to strengthen the forest's defenses and train the inhabitants of Eloria. They knew that the ultimate battle was approaching, and they needed to be ready. As the sun set on the eve of the confrontation, the forest seemed to hold its breath. The guardians of Eloria stood united, their resolve unyielding. With the celestial crystal in their hands and the echoes of the past guiding them, they faced the darkness with a newfound strength. And so, as the first light of dawn broke through the canopy, Lyra and Niamh led the charge, their hearts filled with hope and determination. The battle for Eloria had begun, and they were ready to fight for their home, their future, and the eternal light that bound them to the ancient forest.